3 stores, same categories. One answer that nobody walking into any of those parking lots would predict. And by the end of this video, you'll have the answer. Walmart. The floor. Walk into any Walmart and the watch section isn't hard to find. It sits between the phone accessories and the pharmacy, a spinning rack, or a locked glass case depending on the store's floor plan, stocked with Casio, Timex, Armatron, and a few generic imports at prices starting around $12 and stopping around $120. There's also occasionally a fossil that makes no sense at full price in this context. We'll come back to that. But first, Casio. Because Casio is the honest foundation of this entire comparison. The Casio F91W has been in production since 1989. It hasn't changed. Same resin case, same digital display, same rubber strap, same price hovering between $10 and $15 for most of its commercial life. The watch is water-resistant to 30 meters, runs on a single CR2016 battery for approximately 7 years, and keeps time to within plus or minus 30 seconds per month. None of that is technically impressive. What gets people is something harder to explain. The F91W has complete integrity. It knows exactly what it is, and it never pretends otherwise. No aspirational marketing, no inflated specs, no stainless steel casing hiding something cheaper inside. It promises function, delivers function, and goes quiet. That silence, the absence of any gap between promise and reality, is rarer in a watch aisle than it sounds. A Watch You Seek forum thread from March 2025 had a member struggling to find anything comparable at double the price. That's not a fringe position. It reflects what happens when you start measuring the real cost of a watch against what it actually delivers day to day. The F91W has something else going for it. It's become the benchmark by which budget watches are judged. If you want to argue that something at $15 is better, you have to go through the F91W first. Very few things can. The ones that do are often more expensive than they look, and the ones that try and fail are instantly exposed. But here is what nobody wants to linger on in the Walmart aisle. The F91W is the ceiling here, not the floor. And that matters for everything else in this section. Timex is the other credible choice. The brand dates to 1854, which is more history than most Swiss watchmakers can claim, and its American military contracts during the Second World War gave it engineering credibility that later mass-market production obscured, but didn't erase. The Timex Easy Reader at under $40 is a thoughtful analog watch. Legible dial, Indiglow backlighting, a reliable quartz movement that doesn't need much from you to keep going. The Expedition series does what its name says. These are honest watches at honest prices. But once you go below the $35 Timex, something changes. The cases start arriving in coated brass rather than stainless steel. The straps dry out faster than they should. The crowns feel softer. These aren't the watches Timex built its reputation on. They're the versions of those watches that fit Walmart's price architecture, and they show it after a year of wear in a way the better Timex models don't. Armatron is the honest warning sign in this aisle. At first glance, it looks fine. A watch in a box, branded, priced between $20 and $60, sitting in a case that makes it seem equivalent to its neighbors. Spend a month with a $25 Armatron and the gap becomes visible. The case edges feel stamped rather than worked. The clasp gives you one micro-adjust position when 3 is standard above this tier. The mineral glass surrenders to a car key in under 2 weeks. You put it on feeling like you made a sensible decision. By week 6, it's on a shelf somewhere, vaguely embarrassing, and you're not entirely sure why you didn't spend the $8 on the Casio. Watch You Seek members have been consistent on this for years. Armatron is okay, but you shouldn't spend too much on one. That's a polite way of saying the ceiling is low. Now, back to that fossil. Because this is one of the stranger recurring sightings in Walmart's watch case. A full-price fossil sitting next to a Casio that costs $8 and performs identically as a timekeeping instrument. The fossil looks more expensive. The applied indices, the sunray dial finish, the bracelet that feels heftier than it is. But the movement inside is a generic Miyota quartz caliber that any number of brands use. The case is likely to be stainless-looking steel-colored alloy on lower models, and the aftermarket support once something goes wrong is limited in a way the Casio's never will be. The battery in a Fossil dies in 2 to 3 years. The Casio battery goes 7. None of this makes the Fossil a bad watch. It makes it a middling watch at a price where better options exist if you know where to look. And that's the core of what Walmart's watch section is telling you. This is not a watch store. It was never designed to be one. It's the answer to a specific problem. Someone needs a watch tonight, the mall is closed, and there are 3 options available at 11 p.m. The Walmart watch section is optimized for that buyer, in that situation. If that's you, reach for the Casio without hesitation. But if you have even a weekend to think, Walmart has already said everything it has to say. The floor here is real. The F91W is a genuine achievement in functional design, and its survival across 37 years of production unchanged is its own verdict. But there's nothing else in this aisle worth your careful attention once you know what's outside it. Which of these have you actually owned long-term? One more thing the Walmart section teaches you before we leave it. The locked glass case near the Casio rack sometimes has a few pieces that feel out of place. A Citizen at $150. An Invicta at $90 with a case so thick it looks like it arrived from a different industry. These don't belong at Walmart, in the sense that Walmart's model doesn't support them. The staff can't open the case without assistance, can't tell you anything useful about the movement, and the warranty you get from a department store-adjacent environment is less clear than what you'd get from an authorized dealer. They're there because the margin is acceptable and someone approved the SKU. They're not there because it's a good place to buy them. The same watch in the Citizen case at Walmart, bought at Costco, is a different transaction entirely. Same watch. Different warranty structure. Different savings. Different confidence. The Walmart glass case is where the value comparison between these 3 channels becomes real rather than theoretical. That's the floor. Now let's see how high the ceiling goes when the guardrails come off. Before we move on to the next part, let me tell you this. Most people don't realize this, but buying a watch the wrong way can cost you thousands, and you won't even notice it until it's too late. That's why I created a complete insider guide to buying watches. The goal is simple. I'll help you stop guessing and start buying smart. You'll find the guide in the pinned comment and description. Now, let's move on to the next part. AliExpress. The rabbit hole. AliExpress is not a store. That's the first thing to understand. Because walking into AliExpress like it's a store is exactly how people end up losing $60 on a watch that looks fine in stock photos and arrives with a bezel rotated 25 degrees from center, a crown that feels like it's screwed into paste, and a strap that smells like it was stored next to industrial solvents. You open the box expecting a watch. You get a puzzle. And the return window is 2 weeks, and the seller's English is optimistic. And you're going to lose a little money and a lot of trust in your own judgment before this is over. AliExpress is a platform. Thousands of sellers, from serious Chinese manufacturers with years of documented QC to fly-by-night operations that'll be gone before your dispute clears, all selling under the same user interface. The watches range from $2, please don't buy these ones, to over $400, and probably not worth it here, or what has been your experience? Within that range, the collector community has spent serious time over the past 5 years mapping what's worth touching and what isn't. WatchUseek built a formal tier list in a thread from early 2025 that ran to 85 replies and 20-plus contributors who'd actually owned these watches. WatchCrunch ran parallel discussions. Ben's Watch Club wrote independent reviews. The consensus that emerged is cleaner than the platform itself deserves. At the bottom, Pagani Design and Tendorio. Pagani has learned how to write a spec sheet. Sapphire crystal, NH35 movement, 200 meters water resistance at under $60. That looks extraordinary on paper. In practice, multiple WatchUseek members described it as absolute garbage in reality. The finishing doesn't match the claims. The case edges are sharp where they shouldn't be. The crowns aren't always true. One forum member with broad experience across the category said Pagani didn't belong in the same sentence as the tier above it. Tendorio landed at D in multiple independent rankings, with unrefined edges and execution that feels like someone hit a specification target without caring what the finished product felt like in a hand. In the middle, AliExpress and Steel Dive. These two share origins. They came from the same factory initially, which is why forum members describe them interchangeably. At under $80, you can find watches in this tier running an NH35, a movement sourced from Seiko with sapphire crystal, a ceramic bezel insert with C3 Super Luminova fill, and water resistance to 200 meters. One Watch You Seek member documented 6 months of consistent daily wear with incredible lume performance and no material failures. For the money, this specification package is not available anywhere else at this price point. That's not opinion. That's a comparison that holds up when you sit with the numbers. The bracelets are the documented weak spot: pressed clasps, limited micro-adjust positions, hollow end links that clatter. Multiple forum members mention replacing the strap or bracelet as a near-immediate step after purchase. The watch body over-delivers. The bracelet under-delivers. Know that going in. The quality control is the honest caveat. Bezel misalignment shows up in forum threads about AliExpress and Steel Dive often enough that checking it immediately on arrival is described as standard practice. One WatchCrunch member returned a Baltony on first inspection for a misaligned bezel. Another described a Steel Dive arriving with a fingerprint already baked into the upper lug, apparently from the production line. These aren't catastrophic failures. They're the predictable cost of price point manufacturing without the quality control infrastructure Seiko or Citizen runs at scale. And then there's San Martin. This is where the comparison gets complicated. San Martin is the brand that made watch forums argue out loud. The case finishing on a San Martin at $150 is better than what you'll find on a Seiko Prospex at 3 times the price. Multiple collectors on Watch You Seek and WatchCrunch have made that comparison directly, not as an opinion, but as a documented examination of specific attributes. Bezel click action, end link precision, clasp engineering, brushing direction. One member with a documented Rolex 16,610 inches their collection said San Martin's bezel action compared favorably to older Rolex models. I wasn't sure whether to include that line. It went in because enough people independently said the same thing that it stopped being a fringe opinion and became a data point. So why isn't San Martin the only recommendation in this video? Because the movements have been a documented problem. For years, many San Martin models ran the Seiko NH35, a reliable and widely serviced caliber with a multi-decade track record. When San Martin, alongside other micro-brands, transitioned some models to Miyota movements to manage supply issues and pricing pressure from Seiko, the reports started coming in. Ben's Watch Club's 2024 review of San Martin Originals documented a stuttering hands fault from the Miyota 8000 series as a widely reported common fault. A Watch You Seek members' assessment of their own San Martin collection was blunt. Classic car, sexy exterior, outdated engine. The case and bracelet tell one story. The movement sometimes tells a different one. And the price trajectory is worth watching. San Martin models that cost $100 2 years ago are now listed above $150, and some configurations push $250. A Watch You Seek member who tracked this noted that watches purchased at full retail often struggle to retain 60% of their value on resale. You're not buying into a brand with collector momentum behind it. You're buying a product that will be hard to move when you want something different. The AliExpress tier list matters more than any single brand within it. Because the honest truth about this platform is that it rewards a specific type of buyer and punishes everyone else. The buyer AliExpress rewards someone who'll spend a weekend reading QC threads on the specific model, not just the brand. Someone who buys only from official brand stores on the platform, because the third-party resellers are where knockoffs of the good brands live. A WatchCrunch member flagged this explicitly. Be careful where you buy them. Would only use their official websites as there are many Chinese sellers of knockoffs of both brands, especially on AliExpress. Someone who knows to set their budget at $100 to $150 and hold it, because above that, you enter a strange space where resale value drops sharply and purpose-built Japanese watches start to make more financial sense. The buyer AliExpress punishes everyone else. There's a specific kind of loss on AliExpress that doesn't make it into the tier lists. It's not the bezel misalignment, which is annoying but returnable. It's the person who spends $60 on a Pagani design based on the spec sheet, gets a watch that feels wrong from the moment they pick it up, and then spends the next several months slightly suspicious of their own judgment. Not about watches, about themselves. About whether they're the kind of person who gets taken in by numbers on a page. That particular feeling is harder to return than the watch. And unlike the bracelet clasp you can replace, or the bezel you can realign, it takes a while to shake. AliExpress works exactly when you treat it like a research problem, not a shopping experience. The platform doesn't care about you. The community does. And the community has done an enormous amount of work to map what's worth your money and what isn't. Use that work. So, what does AliExpress actually offer at its best? A steel dive with sapphire, ceramic, a genuine Seiko NH35, a movement and serious loom performance under $80. There's nothing at Walmart or Costco that meets those specifications at that price. That's a factual gap. The question is whether you want to earn it. Where are you on the spectrum? Reader of forums before every purchase, or buyer of impulse who learns after? From the rabbit hole to the place nobody expected to be the most interesting stop in this comparison. Costco. The surprise. Nobody expects the best watch story in this comparison to come from Costco. You go to Costco because you need 80 rolls of paper towels and a rotisserie chicken and a bag of trail mix the size of a pillowcase. The watch case near the jewelry section is not where you're looking. It's staffed by nobody, or by someone whose primary expertise is in bulk quantities of Kirkland protein bars. Most people walk past it without slowing down. Most people have been doing that for years, and most people have been leaving money on the table the whole time. Here's what's actually in that case. Citizen EcoDrive models across multiple lines. ProMaster Air, Endeavor, Weekender, Seiko Solar Divers. Luminox tactical pieces carrying authorized Navy use designation. Bulova, automatics. Alpina and Glycine, depending on the warehouse location. And in documented cases from a decade ago, Omega, Breitling, and Rolex. That last detail has a history. Omega sued Costco in 2004 over the resale of Seamaster watches that Costco had sourced through gray market channels. Watches bearing a small, copyrighted Omega Globe design on the caseback. The argument was that selling those watches without Omega's authorization constituted copyright infringement. The case went to the Supreme Court. The justices split 4-4, which meant the Ninth Circuit's ruling stood, and the Ninth Circuit had found in Omega's favor. The first sale doctrine didn't protect Costco because the watches were manufactured outside the United States. Costco, on the surface, lost. But the case went back down, and the district court found that Omega had misused its copyright by using a logo engraving not to protect artistic work, but to control resale pricing of its watches. Costco eventually prevailed on that narrower ground. The litigation ran a decade. And through all of it, the luxury brands drew their own lesson. Being associated with that kind of fight over watches sold next to paper towels was incompatible with the positioning they were trying to hold. They didn't get removed. They chose to leave. What remained after that exit is more interesting than what left, because Costco's model turned out to work extraordinarily well for mid-tier Japanese and Swiss watch brands. When a Citizen EcoDrive ends up at Costco, it comes with full authorized warranty, original box and papers, and Costco's satisfaction guarantee on top. A Watch You Seek member who'd bought an Alpina, a Seiko, and a Citizen Solar Titanium from Costco described it plainly. All come with box and papers and warranties. Most durable goods at Costco, if something is wrong in the first 30 days, they full refund or give you a new item. I put it on my Costco Visa and get 2% cash back and don't have to have my receipt if I need to take it back as it's in the system. That's not a gray market purchase. That's not a sample unit or a channel-damaged piece that didn't make it through authorized retail. It's the same watch that would cost more at a jewelry store or department store, with better return terms than those stores offer. Bought in a building that also sells a 23-pound bag of jasmine rice. The Citizen EcoDrive is the specific case worth spending time on, because it illustrates exactly what Costco's buying power does to a price structure that everyone else accepts as fixed. Citizen's EcoDrive technology charges from any light source, natural or artificial. A full charge powers the watch for 6 months in total darkness. The technology has been in commercial production since 1995 through a solar cell layer bonded beneath the dial. The movement accuracy spec varies by caliber, but runs to plus or minus 15 seconds per year on multiple ProMaster models. 15 seconds per year. Sit with that for a moment. The Casio F91W keeps time to within 30 seconds per month. The EcoDrive ProMaster is accurate to roughly 1 second per month. It doesn't need a battery change on a schedule. It doesn't need much from you at all. You charge it by existing in daylight, and it repays you with years of accurate, battery-free timekeeping. That's not a luxury feature. That's the kind of thing that makes you wonder why you'd ever buy anything else. The Citizen EcoDrive ProMaster Land Atomic. A 45mm steel watch with atomic timekeeping, perpetual calendar, and 200 meters water resistance. Carries a retail price above $500 through authorized jewelers. Costco has carried versions of the ProMaster line between $290 depending on season and stock. That gap is real money. Not, oh, that's a nice discount money. That's your Costco membership paid several times over on a single transaction with an authorized warranty that holds at any Citizen Service Center worldwide. The Seiko solar pieces at Costco carry similar logic. And Luminox is worth a mention. The authorized Navy use designation doesn't change because the watch is in a warehouse instead of a dive shop. The watch is what it is. The price is what Costco negotiated it to be. The selection is the complication. It rotates by season, varies by warehouse, and you can't walk in expecting a specific model. One Watch You Seek member found a Casio Mudmaster originally built for the Indian market at below standard US retail. Another location had only Invictus and Citizens. A third had Alpinas and Glycines. The Costco play is simple. You go there for other reasons. You check the case, you search the model number on your phone if something looks interesting, and you buy if the savings and warranty check out. The watch finds you. You don't find it. One thing the forum community makes clear: the Costco approach rewards patience over urgency. But the person who walks in open, sees something in the case, searches the model while their partner is choosing which bag of cashews to get, and walks to the till with a $250 Citizen under their arm. That person feels something the Walmart buyer and the AliExpress buyer don't. Like the watch chose them as much as they chose it. And here's the observation I keep coming back to about what Costco actually does to the watch market. Costco doesn't carry watches to be a watch retailer. It carries watches because the margin structure works within its membership model, because its buyers negotiate hard enough to extract real pricing, and because an authorized Citizen is a well-understood product in a way that minimizes the service cost Costco absorbs when something goes wrong and gets returned. When a Citizen ends up at Costco at $280, it's priced that way because Citizen agreed to it, because Costco moves volume, because that volume justifies the lower unit price in ways that no individual jeweler can replicate. That removal of markup, specifically, is the thing neither Walmart nor AliExpress can match in the same way. Walmart moves volume, but at a different product tier altogether. AliExpress removes the middleman through direct-from-factory access, but adds the research burden and quality control risk back in. Costco removes the markup without adding either risk or required research. That's a different value proposition from any other channel in this comparison. Have you ever found something surprising in a Costco case? Drop the watch and the price in the comments. There's a version of this comparison where I treat Costco as a novelty. An interesting footnote, but that would miss something. The Citizen EcoDrive purchase at Costco isn't a compromise. It's a choice made from a position of understanding the market well enough to recognize where the markup disappears without the product changing. That's not something you stumble into. That's something you earn by paying attention. And the forward feint planted early in the Walmart section deserves a payoff now. That fossil at $60 or $70 sitting in the Walmart case, the one that looks more expensive than the Casio next to it, with its applied indices and sunray dial finish. A full-price fossil in a Walmart is the clearest illustration of the most expensive thing a watch buyer can do: pay for the appearance of value rather than its reality. The movement inside is a generic Miyota quartz caliber. The battery dies in 2 to 3 years. The Casio next to it has a 7-year battery, costs $8, and has been in continuous production since 1989 because nobody has found a reason to change it. If you know those facts, when you're standing at the Walmart case, the Fossil's presence becomes clarifying rather than confusing. It tells you exactly what the aisle is optimizing for, and it isn't optimizing for you. 3 channels, 3 answers. The question is, which one is actually yours? The verdict. There is a clear winner, but the reason matters more than the name. Walmart wins one specific scenario, the late-night emergency watch purchase. Under $20 when nothing else is available. The Casio F91W at $10 to $15 is the best watch for that situation. Unbeatable battery life, reliable timekeeping, 37 years of continuous production without a redesign because nothing needed redesigning. If you're standing in a Walmart at 9 p.m. with a morning flight and a missing watch, reach for the Casio. Walk past everything else in the aisle. AliExpress wins for a very specific buyer. You've read the Watch You Seek tier lists. You know Pagani's spec sheets are aspirational fiction, and that Steel Dive and Addy's Dive are where the real sub-$100 value lives. You buy only from official brand stores on the platform. You check QC threads on the specific model, not just the brand name. You have a budget of $100 to $150, and you want the most specification possible within it. Under those conditions, a Steel Dive or Addy's Dive with sapphire crystal, ceramic bezel, and a genuine Seiko NH35, a movement outperforms anything at Walmart or Costco in its price range. The ceiling is high if you do the homework, and you're comfortable with the quality control lottery that comes with the price. So, Costco wins for everyone else, not because it's the most exciting watch destination, not because the staff know anything useful or the display cases are beautifully lit. Costco wins because it solves the problem most buyers actually have, without requiring any work from the buyer, at a price that's legitimately lower than what authorized retail charges for the same product. An authorized Citizen Eco Drive or Seiko solar piece at Costco, with full warranty, at 20 to 40% below department store price, is the cleanest watch purchase in this comparison for anyone who doesn't want to spend a weekend earning their watch. There's something worth sitting with in that. Watch culture tends to celebrate the enthusiast. The forum reader, the tier lister, the person who knows the difference between a Miyota 8000 and a Miyota 9015 and can explain why it matters over a 15-minute coffee. That knowledge is real. The rewards for earning it are real. But somewhere in all that enthusiasm, the person who just wants a good watch gets lost. The person who has 40 minutes on a Saturday doesn't want to read 85 forum replies and just wants to buy something real from a brand they recognize at a price that isn't a lie. That person exists in enormous numbers, and almost nobody in the watch media is talking to them. Costco is, without even trying to. The brands that last aren't the ones that promise the most. They're the ones that keep whatever promise they make over and over, long enough that nobody questions whether they'll keep it next time. Here's what 37 years of continuous F91W production is really saying. Casio made a promise in 1989 about what a $10 watch would do for you. Every year since, without fanfare or redesign or a special anniversary edition, the F91W has kept it. That consistency is rarer than it looks. Most products get changed because the company ran out of ideas, found a cheaper component, decided the original design wasn't generating enough Instagram content. The F91W exists unchanged because none of those were reasons to touch it. The design was right. The price was right. The promise was being kept. You don't change something that's already doing what it said it would. And that principle scales. A Citizen Eco Drive at Costco is Citizen making a promise. This watch will run on light, keep accurate time, never need a battery, and hold up to daily wear for years. Costco's part. We negotiated the price down from what the jewelry store charges. The warranty is real, and if it goes wrong in 30 days, we'll sort it. 2 institutions keeping their word at the same time. Not exciting, not a dinner party story, just reliable, over and over, the way a good watch is supposed to be. So, out of the three, where would you likely patronize? Let me know in the comments. Like and subscribe.